Hey everybody, this is Justin Roner from Agriscaping.com. This is another one of our weekly podcasts that we often are pulling up and interviewing people from all over the world doing great things in the garden. Today I've got Kate Donovan with me. She's a garden coach, part of Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens. Welcome, Kate. Uh-oh, did we lose you?
Hey, Justin. How you doing?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm here.
So this is great. So I'm here in Phoenix area, actually in Scottsdale right now. And tell us where you're from and what you guys are up to. What is Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens?
Well, first of all, we're here in the lovely Blackstone Valley. And the Blackstone Valley is an area between Massachusetts and Rhode Island, all the way in New England, in the northeastern corner of the U.S., pretty much. And what we do is we, as you can see by our mission statement, we actually are out there trying to make sure that everybody grows food. So whether it's young people, old people, whether they're growing it on their deck or in their yard or, under lights in their living room, we want everybody to be able to grow fresh produce just for the health of it. So that's basically what we do. We help people develop raised beds. We help them, we test the soil for them and help them get on their way, whatever they need. So
now they say that we're
those
a
are our
peculiar
pictures,
people.
by the way, on the website.
I see that. Yep, there's Kate right there, and this is all stuff that you guys have been up to. So
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And they say that we gardeners are peculiar people, and what that usually means is that we have a background. There's a reason why we do what we do. It takes some deep heart and purpose to keep doing stuff like this day in and day out and have so much fun with it at the same time. So maybe you can share with us, Kate, a little bit more about how you got started with all this.
Oh, okay. So let me just explain how I did that. So years ago, I was actually I had cancer, actually. So I had cancer, and the doctor told me I was going to have to change my lifestyle. So I did that, and I became well aware of the quality of the food that I was eating. And I decided the only way to get good food was to actually grow my own. So that's what I do is I decided to grow my own, and then I really felt the love of the garden. We were raised on Twinkies and white bread in my house, but my grandparents were gardeners, and I remember the taste of a cucumber and right off the vine. They didn't even wash it, and so I actually kind of fell in love with it. So one year I was laid off from work, and I decided I had some time to spend. So I decided I was going to do some lectures at an area library on, to share my love. And I did a nice PowerPoint presentation. This was on growing tomatoes. Mm-hmm. And it kind of took off. And I partnered with Eric, who's just as much of a garden nut as I am. And we decided we were going to make, eventually it'll be a full-time job. Let's put it that way. So, but right now, we both work full-time, and, I do these presentations and I help people out, and it's a love. I would probably do it for nothing because it's such a, every day I do it, and every person I speak to and every moment I have in the garden is a blessing, and I love to share it. So.
Well, this is good. So tell me a little bit more about what was life before you really got into the garden stuff. What kind of things you were eating? I mean, you said you were raised on Twinkies and white bread, but what else was it? What did you have to change? What did you have to change?
Well, so first of all, I think I probably, when I was first diagnosed with cancer, I was probably about 40 pounds overweight, and the type of cancer I had it will come back. It has more of a possibility of coming back unless, because of the extra weight. Mm. So what I did is I don't like to be hungry. So a lot of that, I took out a lot of processed stuff, and I added a lot of whole foods. Basically, I eat whole foods. I'm not much of a meat eater, never have been much of a meat eater. I don't know if it's the ethical thing. It just doesn't make my body feel good. So, and I went, I still remember one time going to Whole Foods. It's a great store. We have one in the town next to me. Do you have Whole Foods out there, Justin?
Yeah, we've got Whole Foods,
Foods
another one
store?
called
Anyway,
Sprouts. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, I went in there and I saw a 32-ounce quart jar of organic spaghetti sauce. It was $9.95, and I almost dropped. I said, there's no reason. I know it's a lot of work, but there's no reason with all the tomatoes I grow that I can't just make my own spaghetti sauce, and then instead of having pasta, I'll make spaghetti out of my zucchini. And I had a little spiralizer, so it's just substituting a lot of that processed stuff for the whole food. And not only that, it's a lot of people go to the gym, and I really think I should get going to the gym more often. But when I go out in the garden, I'm really exercising. I'm got the wheelbarrow full of compost, and I'm digging, and I'm applying mulch on top of it. So I'm really out there weeding. I'm working. I actually get a good workout. And there's something magical about the earth. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Being into gardening, there's something magical in the earth, and I think that's kind of nature's way. Because if humans didn't enjoy being out in the garden, then they wouldn't, and we wouldn't have survived as a species. So I think there really is something to be said for getting out there in the garden. It gets the endorphins flowing. So
That's perfect. I love it. And then you've got a kind of a partner in crime, or in the garden with you. Tell me more about him and what he's up to, and how you guys kind of met to create this Blackstone Valley Veggie Garden.
Well, it's really funny. Eric, I've worked with him in two different places. So we're both in IT, and he got laid off from one place. I went to another, and then he came there, and we had just, I had met him, but I didn't know him all that well, and we had some mutual friends on Facebook, and he started, we became friends. He started posting these beautiful pictures of his garden, and I said, Eric, you have to join my gardening group. I do have a gardening, not my Facebook page, but a gardening group on Facebook with 50,000 people from around the world. So I said, you really have to join my gardening page, and he did. And we were both so into it. I said, we should really make a business out of this, at least a part-time thing. And he said, it's a great idea. So we did, and he's Eric is like brother. He is. We get along fabulously. We don't always agree on the best way to grow herbs or the best kind of lights to use, when you're starting your peppers. But everybody gardens differently. But he's honest. He's there on time, and he's the one that sets up all my. He boosts all our videos on our YouTube channel, and he does all that kind of a whole ton of work for us. So. He's like my brother. I love him dearly. So we get along fabulously. So, yeah.
And he's officially a master gardener, correct?
He is one, yes, and he has been one for quite some time. He has a different. See, I garden in my yard. I have 5 double long raised beds in there. And I think it's 4 by 16 or something. And then in the back, I just put a couple of more 25 by 3 feet, 2 of them. So my and I found that in Massachusetts, it's much easier to have raised beds because you control your own soil. The earth is not very kind. The weather's not very kind there. We can have floods and all kinds of stuff, and a lot of insects, and the weather's kind of harsh there. So I find I control my soil better when I have raised beds. But anyway, Eric gardens mostly. He's involved in a community garden, and he has a big plot where he lives in Uxbridge, Massachusetts, on the Blackstone Valley. He grows his stuff in the in the community garden.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So with everything you've got going, how are you? I guess I can see right on here you got some upcoming events. So if you want to check it out, BlackstoneValleyVeggieGardens.com. And where can they find you on Facebook, YouTube? I see that you got some social media stuff in there.
Yes. Well, if you just, Google Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens, you'll find our Facebook page. And you will also find our YouTube channel as well. We just put a new one up there. Eric just finished one on seed started.
Very
Because
cool.
a lot of stuff, unlike you guys, we can't grow a lot of stuff because our season's very short. So sometimes if we want to grow a tender like, eggplant, peppers, squash, tomatoes or what have you, we have to start those indoors. And it takes some amount of preparation, a little bit of equipment. So he did a class in that. He just boosted up a couple of days ago. So on the YouTube channel.
Yep, I see it. He just barely went up, so it's a great one. Looks like you got a good long video. Jump in and check that out, and that's on YouTube.
Yeah, they're very instructional.
Pretty easy, pretty easy link. Looks like from the website at BlackstoneValleyGardens.com. Just click on social media, and you'll find the two options right there: Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, a lot of people may not be seeing the screen right now. They're only listening to it, and so we just want to make sure we describe it for everybody so they understand what they're looking at once they get there. So what kind of upcoming events, upcoming classes do you have that they might be able to attend?
So tonight, as I say, and if you want to switch to April up here on the...
Oh, yeah, there we go. I can switch over.
Yep, I have... So as I said, we have, in one of my favorite classes to teach is the composting one. So in April we have composting, and of course you have garden waste. We have a lot of oak trees and a lot of trees, and we have a beautiful fall here in New England. So beautiful foliage, but we use those leaves and our grass clippings to make some wonderful compost. We add our kitchen scraps. Of course, there's a couple of recipes and things you have to be aware of. So we teach a class in that. We're doing some container gardening. As I say, we're kind of almost centralized for the three biggest cities in New England. So there's a lot of folks that live in the city. We don't, but so we're going to be doing one on container gardening. There's a lot of new cultivars of veggies that grow quite well in containers. You don't have to get expensive containers. You can use the 5-gallon containers a lot of times from Home Depot or something like that. So we try to teach them frugal approaches and use your own compost, etc.
That's great.
And then
you did mention, and I wanted to just make people aware. It's like you did mention that when it comes to composting, there's a specific recipe that you should follow. A specific recipe when you're mixing and putting together your compost, so that you don't end up with a stinky mess or a dry mess or right? Isn't that what you're kind of talking about? Because it's kind of like a lasagna.
Right.
It's like a lasagna. You can't just take all the ingredients and think you can just put them in any specific order. There's a routine to it, and if you put them together right, then it works out really, really well. But if you put it together backwards,
right, exactly,
or upside down, you end up with a mess.
You really do, and it won't turn to black gold. It won't feed your plants appropriately. It won't break down when you want it to break down. So there's a lot. Well, there isn't that much on composting. Anybody can do it. Just follow a few simple rules, and pretty much anyone can do it. One of the things I teach about composting is it's not a bad idea in general. Especially here in New England, where we're actually making our own soil a lot of times and supplementing our beds, is to test it. And we have little, test kits and electronic devices, probes that you can actually test the macronutrients, because when you're throwing in your banana peels and all that kind of stuff, it's not an exacting recipe. So you want to make sure that you've got what you need, and we test that we test that and teach people how to test it as well. The other event we have coming up in April, also on the Tuesday the 17th, we have a companion planting because some plants don't like one another, and some plants do very well with help each other grow. We tell the story of the Three Sisters Garden, which was, the Native Americans here in New England used to grow the corn, and of course corn uses a lot of nitrogen, but and it sucks a lot out of the soil.
Mm-hmm.
And the beans, you'd grow the beans with it because the beans actually have fixed nitrogen. They deposit nitrogen in the soil for the corn, and they help the corn grow long, grow high, and then they use the corn to wrap themselves around so they can grow. And then of course the third sister is the squash, because the squash has big leaves, viney squash, the winter squash, and it goes along the bottom. And it helps keep some of the weeds out. So we teach all about companion planting. Different herbs prevent different bugs from coming, and so there's a lot to that as well. So that will. I haven't even finished the the presentation yet. So
you're creating it as we're talking.
That's a new one this year. Yeah, I have all my ideas, but I have to have it nice and polished. I practice in front of the mirror before I get the presentation anyway, so.
Oh, that's fun.
I do have to practice.
I practice in front of my kids, I guess, in the backyard. That's where I go.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And if they understand it, then I know anybody else understand it. They help me keep my huge terminologies in check, because I know that...
you have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I can't be using all these Latin names and other things if, people just go out of there with their head spinning, knowing that I know something, but they don't know anything themselves, and that doesn't really help.
Eric has a tendency to do that, and I tell him not to dumb me down, but just to, just pretend you're a Joe Schmo homeowner and not a master gardener. Let's talk, let's talk to the people here, talk to the audience. So I have to remind them of that now and again as well. So.
Yeah, we need to help them activate their knowledge. That's really what they're there to do, right? People want knowledge they can apply, they can do something with. Not just parrot back and sound smart. Right,
exactly. And everything's very logical.
Yeah, it is.
Like I say, Eric and I some people, well, gut is kind of a primal thing in all of us, I think. But there is a lot of science behind it. And one thing good about Eric and I is between the two of us, I think we have, I don't know, my goodness, 50 years worth of experience. Anyway, and we've tried everything. I probably start, 50 different types of plants, at least in my, not all take. I try different kinds of lighting. I propagate in different ways, and just to try to find out if I'm going to teach it and I'm going to, coach people on how to do it, I should have done some kind of research beforehand. So it takes a while, but it's a lot of fun. We get paid back, twice as much as we give, and we learn a lot as well. So.
Well, someone asked me a while ago, they asked me, well, how did you learn so much about gardening? How did you really get into it? How did you learn it? Where did you learn? And they're always asking, where did I learn? And I said, actually quoted a guy named Bob Parsons. He was the founder of GoDaddy. And I heard him speak many years ago before I really jumped back into the garden. When I was in college, he was growing the GoDaddy organization. Mm-hmm. And somebody was asking him, well, where did you go to learn all this stuff about the internet to make it work and get your business running and stuff like that? And he says, it's an interesting thing when you love something. When you love something, it tells you its secrets. And I was like, oh. And he basically was telling all of us in that meeting, he's basically saying, you need to find the thing that you tend to know the secrets. That's the thing you'll likely be most successful at, is the thing that tells you
that's right.
Because you love it enough. You love it enough that you learn the ins and outs and all that stuff, and you always remember. And so he would ask the question, well, what do you find yourself on a soapbox about? A subject starts and you continue it, and you can't seem to stop. And it's not so much about the talking about it as it is that your brain is so aligned with it, and it's hungry for knowledge. And so a lot of what I share with people is I just say, hey, if you want to know more about gardening, you need to love it more. And sometimes it takes getting cancer or getting sick, to shock people into a new awareness about it. But in all reality, it comes down to you have to you have to have a love for it. And then remembering something isn't something you have to think about. It's like learning how to ride a
Yes,
bike.
that's right.
Once you got it and you really love it, you see the freedom you can have with it. You can just ride it, day in and day out, and you never forget. You can't forget because it's part of you. It's part of your life. It's part of your lifestyle.
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
I love it. So with Blackstone Valley, so tell me more about the history of the name. So Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens. Now, I'm not from your area, so I don't know anything about Blackstone or a valley or anything like that. Is this an actual location, or is it a state of mind?
No, it's an actual location.
Okay.
And it is a river. There's a river, a Blackstone River, and it goes between Providence, Rhode Island, and Worcester, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of history there. There's an actual Blackstone Valley National Corridor there, and but that's the area, and it's probably, I'd say, Blackstone Valley area is probably maybe 100,000 people. It's not a really big area, but it's very pretty. It's very green here. Have you ever been to New England, Justin?
I've been to parts of New England, but I haven't been into where you're at. I haven't gotten that far east. We drove through it on the way up to Canada and the Niagara Falls at one point, but we didn't get that far east.
Yeah. So it's very rich in culture, and it was once inhabited by the Native American tribes, and there's a lot of history here. Like I say, the Blackstone Valley National Corridor. It's years ago they had a lot of industries along the river, textile industry, etc. There was a lot of commerce. Of course, that's long gone. There's a lot of walking trails now, and it's kind of I would say the majority of it, you have the two anchor cities on both, one on each end, Providence, Rhode Island, and in Worcester, Massachusetts. But in the middle, it's fairly rural. But let me tell you, it's not rural like, rural, a state that's really rural. This is you have to understand, this is Massachusetts.
Right.
So, I mean, rural is when somebody has an acre of land, as opposed to a postage stamp of, 0.2 acres of land. So, but so it's a nice place. It's a quiet place to live. So.
And I've heard a lot of good things about it.
A lot of people now. Yeah, a lot of people. So what people do here is I'm not unique at all I've spent my life working in information technology. This is Silicon Valley too. So it was, the home of Digital Equipment Corporation, Hewlett Packard, took them over, and I used to work for EMC, and now it's Dell. So there's a lot of technology here. A lot of people now actually can spend more time at home working in the garden or whatever, because they actually are remote. A lot of remote workers, because they're working on their computer and communicating with people from all over the world right from their computer. So it doesn't really matter so much where they work.
Like we're doing right now.
So, yes, exactly. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And I mean, not only that, it's because I still remember working from home, and especially when I worked for EMC, which was a big company. But I'd be talking with somebody in Cairo, Egypt, somebody in Cork, Ireland, and another person in Bangalore, India, all on the same phone call. So it's a small world now. But what that does is that it enables people not to go in, not to have to drive to the office, and it actually enables you to get closer again to the earth, closer to the garden, which is a good thing. So.
Right. But then it's also an interesting thing that we also get food from further away. I mean, this day and age, I was eating some kiwis this morning. They were called kiwi berries, and I was so enamored by them. I got them from my local farmer's market, and they called them kiwi berries. And then when I actually went back and read the package and where they came from New Zealand. And I'm like, wait a minute, this was
Ah,
my local farmer's market, and I just got these little cool kiwis from New Zealand. I was like, those poor little guys, they've
there.
traveled quite a long distance to get to me.
Well, no, there is a native. It's not a true kiwi, but there is a native cultivar that actually grows even in our area. So I'll have to dig that information up and forward it over if you want to grow some.
That would be
So
awesome. I mean, I
a
love it.
little,
It's more of a, yeah, they're little round. They're not fuzzy on the outside, and you just can pretty much eat
yeah,
the entire thing, right?
yeah. But you don't have to. You don't have to. Go, I mean, those can be local. I mean,
Yeah.
local to us. I don't know exactly what's local to you. What zone are you out there? You must
What
be
zone am
zone
I? I'm in Phoenix,
10,
so
right?
yeah, we're 10, 10, 11, but we
Oh,
can we
goodness,
can
yeah.
we can grow things in the microclimates. That's the other cool thing we do with the agriscaping is we've studied microclimates, so I can get down to a 5 in my area in terms of what things I can grow. And I think the type of kiwi is it's a hardy kiwi. Is that what I'm remembering? There's like even red ones and green
I
ones.
think so. That might be it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that'd
yeah.
be
That's what
definitely
I
something I'd
haven't
love to
seen
try
that.
growing.
So yeah. So we do. The fruits I have growing, I have blueberries that are going to come to fruition this year. I have a couple of different kinds of raspberries. I have two apple trees, a Asian. Oh no, that's a pear. Sorry, Bartlett apples and Gala, I think. Oh no, not Bartlett. No, Yellow Delicious and Gala. We need two different kinds of apples to have them cross-pollinate properly. I don't know if you can grow apples there. Maybe if you can bring down a microclimate to zone 5, you probably could. And then we have two pear trees. The pear trees are Bartlett and Asian pear. They also are needed to cross-pollinate and then do different types. And then we have a peach tree that's self-pollinating. But I got the mini ones, or what do they call them? The dwarf trees. They grow to 10 feet high because I don't need to be getting up on a ladder and and bring in, I would just as soon, have something that's 10 feet high that's tall enough. And you have to space them 10 feet apart. So they don't take a whole lot of space, and they can be quite fruitful. They should be bearing fruit this year. So it's not that hard to feed them either. So you use a spike, and you have to spray them and all that. But I should be enjoying and of course strawberries as well. I grow in the garden. They're perennials, come up every year. So I love my fruit.
Oh yeah, we love fruit down here too, and we definitely can grow some apples. We're learning that even the varieties that people say don't work here actually do. We've got 30 different varieties of apples we're growing in the desert.
Oh, nice, nice. I'm gonna have to come and see you, Justin.
Yeah, I think
So
we're gonna have to
I'm
trade
gonna put it on
spaces
my
at some point, right? I know
yeah. I
we've
think
got an
so.
intern right now from the University of Rhode Island, so URI, and
Yeah, yeah,
she's
great.
adamant she wants to bring agriscaping back to the University of Rhode Island, and she
Yeah,
probably will.
great.
She just came in the door right now,
Yeah.
actually, our intern. She's been
Oh, great.
outside working in our restaurant gardens out here.
Oh, great.
So, what are the things that you guys growing that is very unique to your area? What's growing in Massachusetts?
Hmm. I don't. So, so the stuff that I have growing, I can't say. I can say that in a sense it's unique because I don't grow that. I grow most of the stuff from seed. So there's you're going to go buy a plant. Um, you've got probably, I don't know, probably um, 5 different types of tomatoes
Hmm.
from seed. I mean, from a plant. But how many different types of packages of seeds do you have? There's pages and pages in the Johnny's seed book. Pages and pages of different types of cultivars. So I'll grow purple cauliflower and lemon cucumbers that are round and look like lemons. I'll grow white cucumbers and white eggplant and green pumpkins, not the typical. I mean, so I do get kind of creative. I like a nice bright salad. All peppers, all different colors of peppers, all different sizes, etc. So we get kind of creative that way. But but we grow a whole ton of stuff. I mean, I've got just to name a few things: chard, col. I got to eat more. Doctor's orders. I have to eat more greens. So I have chard, collard, mustard. Mustard is great. Kale, many different kinds of kale growing. What else do I have for greens? And we have all the rest of our brassicas, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and then I have all my herbs. Probably 5 or 6 types of basil alone growing.
Yeah, 5 or 6 types of basil alone, huh?
Yes. Yes. So many different kinds of mint and my goodness, oregano, chard. Of course, some of these come back every year, so we have all that. And of course, then you get the tenders. All the different types of tomatoes and peppers and, like I say, the eggplant and different kinds of squash. I grow probably 7 or 8 different kinds of squash. Because they're big, and like I say, I take them a lot of the softer squash and make my spaghetti out of it. So yeah. Plus, we give plenty away, and what the whole thing is, we have so many plants. A lot of times we get to our lecture, people at the lectures, because you never know what's going to take. When you have seeds, you don't really get 100%, germination, or so you always have to plant extra. And sometimes, God is good, and you'll have, a whole bunch of extra ones. So I just tend to give those along. And sometimes, I've been known to barter. I didn't have fruit trees. I still haven't. My trees are still, kind of babies. So I remember bartering some, a bunch of jalapenos and other, spicy peppers. I traded those for some pears from a friend of mine. And I have been known to have some extra compost because I buy it, I just ordered, I didn't have enough, so I ordered a bunch from my organic dairy farm, some composted cow manure. I had some extra, so I traded it to somebody for some fresh garden eggs. So bartering's a big deal. People have extra pallets. Somebody can grow a vertical garden with those pallets, and they'll be very kind to you. So a lot of what we do also is try to create a kinder, a better relationship, more communities like we used to have. When I was a kid, we'd have extra cucumbers. We'd fill up the wagon and go throughout the neighborhood giving out cukes to people.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't have anymore. Because a lot of the kids are inside playing video games or doing whatever they do. And they're not outside, and they're not, we're not working together. So,
we grew up
in any case,
we grew up playing in the mud, and they grew up just looking at a screen, right? And they're all together looking at a screen. It's really interesting.
Exactly.
Not much interaction happening. I've noticed that as well. And
I know.
When I was a kid, I remember taking zucchini by the bags, to the neighbors' houses and stuff, and sharing those until they locked the doors because we had too many. And then they ended up getting about the size of baseball bats, right?
Yes. I use those. I don't care. I use them because they get a little spongy, but you know what? You stuff them or you slice them up and you fry them, or you can do a million things with those. I don't think they're all that bad.
Oh, yeah. I remember my dad, we took one that was so big.
I'm Italian.
We cored out the middle. He put like a sausage and other mix of stuff, basically put a meatloaf inside and then threw it in a fire, put some aluminum foil on, run in, and threw the whole thing in the fire and cooked it, inside the, with
there
it
you
inside
go.
the fruit. And, yeah. But, and then we made cookies and whatever out of the, so many different things you can
bread,
do with zucchini,
of course.
right?
Yes, and another thing is if you make it, I don't know if I have a precious little 4-legged child. She's a beagle. Her name is Zoe. And any kind of squash, butternut, pumpkin. Hopefully people in Arizona know pumpkin's a squash. I mean, some people might not. But any kind of squash, the animals love it. They, you can mix it in their food. It's good for the gut. And if it's a sweet potato, or I say sweet potato. I grow delicata squash. They really taste a lot like sweet potato.
Wow.
So you can take a winter squash, butternut or what have you, and mix it right in with there, and make your homemade dog treats with it. That and a little bit of peanut butter and some brown rice flour. You're all set.
So that's the
I
delicata
love my
squash.
squash. Delicata squash tastes like sweet potato. It's very pretty. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I definitely like the
Yeah, it is
squash.
good.
I love the pretty stuff. You know, that's what we love at Agriscaping. We got elegant edible stuff. We like making it look pretty. It's like, as you were saying on the bartering
Check
side
it.
of things,
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to barter more parsley, because I have so much parsley right now, the curly leafed. You know, I seem to not be able to get rid of
Okay.
that. Tons of parsley. What can I do with parsley? Got any ideas?
I dry my herbs, and then every Christmas I give them out to people. So they'll get some sage, and the only thing is the oregano loses a lot of its potency when it's dried. But the mint, and people make tea out of them, or throw them in your soup or what have you. Even celery, I dehydrate my celery, which it tastes very much like parsley, at least like parsley, only bigger. So yeah, no, I dry a lot of my herbs. I grow them by the ton.
Wow.
And
So
give them away.
with something like parsley, how would you dry that? Just how do you typically dry your stuff?
Very
Do you have a
lightly.
dehydrator, or is it kind of a slow?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I do. I have a dehydrator, and I don't. You can't do it on too high a temperature because it might get all brown. You don't want to burn it. So put it on a fairly low temperature, 125 degrees, and check it every now and again. And, parsley dries up great. And, of course, you can't have a chicken soup without parsley, right? I mean, you can't possibly have chicken soup without parsley. And, I mean, there's a ton of ways, certainly a ton of ways to use it. Put it on your garlic bread and a ton of different you can throw, it's such a mild, and you can use, obviously, fresh sprigs of parsley as well. You can use it in salad. You can make tabbouleh out of it. If you know what tabbouleh is, you mix it with your olive oil and, yeah, so you can do that as well. Middle Eastern cook it.
Yeah, tabbouleh.
Yep.
I'll have to remember it. I
Tabbouleh,
forgot about that.
Yeah. Yes, tabbouleh. Yeah.
That's something to do. Well, this has been
You
great.
like to cook?
I like to cook. The question is, do I have time for it? So I like gardening more than cooking. So you probably
Tell
find
me
me there
about it.
first.
Yes. Yes, we do every once in a while. So what we did in the summer is we have a garden to plate party. I always, lately, since I a little older, I don't go for those big, huge rip roaring parties that I used to go to when I was in my 20s. I'd rather have a couple of couples over, go out in the yard, pick a bunch of beans or squash or whatever they want, and bring them up to the deck and add in some nice salmon or some, pork chops or whatever it is. Get the grill going and, and start cooking. It's great stuff. So garden to plate, nothing fresher.
Garden to plate. Yeah, we did our raised gardens. We have some formal raised gardens, and I actually built in benches. And we can just put a 6-foot table right out. And we just set it right in there, and the kids can just reach around, grab their food, and eat it. Can't get
That's
closer
a
to
great
that.
idea. No, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
It's a lot of fun.
I like that idea.
Well, it's been great having you on the podcast today, Kate. Is there any other thoughts that you've got that you want to share with people and inspiring them to, I guess, find a good gardener, or whatever else is on your mind?
Well, we're always looking for opportunities, and as I say, we've designed several gardens, built a lot of raised beds, and helped a lot of people. And our email is right up there on our website. You can find us. Look for our free videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Come look at our Facebook group, and we're always looking to network with nice people. And I'm looking forward to contact from your intern there. So
awesome. Yep, she'll be back there
love to get in touch with her.
Yep, and she's excited to get things growing.
Oh, great! That's great.
Well, thanks, Kate. Again, you can find Kate at the BlackstoneValleyGardens.com, BlackstoneValleyGardens.com, and you can find Kate.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Blackstone Valley
Yeah, that's all
Veggie
right.
Gardens.com. Kate Donovan,
That's
Eric Bromberg.
That's Brumber. Yep.
Very cool. And that's it for us here at Agriscaping.com. We look forward to having you on another podcast later on. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, Justin.